subscribers. Shout out to him, man. I had a really great conversation with Chris Tuckman. Like, definitely go check out his video when you can. But essentially, Will Smith is exiting Suicide Squad sequel, which sucks. So let's go ahead and kind of break this down real quick so you guys can kind of understand. We'll go through the article. Even with the studio dating the next installment on the Suicide Squad franchise, Warner Brothers may already be losing one of his film's biggest stars. Even through his return had not been made official, sources tell Variety that Will Smith, sources, I'm not sure who these sources are talking about, said that Will Smith, who played Deadshot in the original, is not expected to return in the studio's upcoming sequel. Sources say that the scheduling was the ultimate factor in that decision that was made amicable terms between both sides with no hard feelings. Though the studio had never confirmed who would be returning for Suicide Squad, insiders say that the studio has already wanted the biggest stars like Will and Margot Robbie, who played Harley Quinn, the first pick, to return while figuring out the other cast decisions along the way. The studio reps for Will Smith could not be reached for comment. Okay, so that's the big update. I'm gonna go back here. It just blows, man. To be quite honest with you, the hard thing about this is that people always go and take a story and they just run with it. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that they couldn't get this confirmed with, you know, his PR team or his reps, but this is quote unquote from a source that he's gonna be gone, kind of bugs and irks me. But let's go on my surface feelings. Like let's not just talk facts. My surface feeling is like, yo, I don't want to see a Suicide Squad, man. Because honestly, his charisma and his story arc is the only thing that really kind of kept me invested. Now, when I watched the David Ayer, well, it wasn't even David Ayer cut. Like, David Ayer cut still has yet to be even found or released or anything in between. But when they did kind of an extended cut, and they showed a lot more of Margot Robbie's character, her progression, some of the other characters. Like, I fell in love with the Joker for Jared Leto. I fell in love with Harley Quinn. And like, I loved Will Smith. And everybody else did okay. Extended cut was definitely gave a little bit more context, a little bit more that I could kind of chew with. But ultimately, man, like, Will Smith's scenes were the most memorable to me. Like, if right now I put up a Suicide Squad scene, I either one, pick up the extended scene with the Joker and Harley and the motorcycle, or I would go, you know, with the Joker when he kind of dived in for Harley Quinn. Outside of that, the moment when Deadshot goes to the gun range and does his thing, the moment when Deadshot just goes and unleashes everything. The problem with the Deadshot character was the end, and that's for all the characters, because the ending was not supposed to actually happen. Now, the reality is, when you got such a big character and a big actor like that, the money side of things is probably the reason why they're not trying to push to bring him back. I think he probably is dealing with some scheduling conflicts, because he does have a big movie coming out, a series coming out, and of course Bad Boys 3, Bad Boys for Life, who he's been really promoting really heavily. But the fact is, man, like, it's a bummer, man, because now, on top of, all I know is based on conjecture and what people have been saying, is that Ben Affleck is gone. David Ayer is no longer directing, because your boy James Gunn is directing. And James Gunn did already say that he was going to have possibly a brand new slew of actors. And they had kind of alluded that Margot Robbie wasn't going to be in it, but then they had to do a, not a reprint, I forget what it's called. And they basically kind of recorrected that, because she is going to be in whatever the Suicide Squad incarnation is going to be. And then they've also said, quote unquote, that Jared Leto is not going to be coming back. But none of these PR people actually say anything. And that's the thing that sucks when it comes to like really quick news like this. And when you got like people like Variety and like Deadline, they come out with this, like, what are we supposed to believe? Like, your sources are probably the best sources that we could have. But ultimately, unless the PR team or Warner Brothers has made an official announcement, I can't get behind that. Like, it's just, even with like Warner Brothers, when it comes to Ben Affleck said, I'm no longer Batman, but what does that mean in the long-term longevity? Like, you got, for Matt Reeves, like a younger Bruce Wayne. They're looking for a 20-year-old man. So how does that translate to a 30 to 40-year-old seasoned vet? You know what I'm saying? unless they kind of just change everything when it comes to the Flash movie, which they already said they were going to do. Even Ezra Miller kind of alluded that he's going to be going in and out of time, different versions of the characters. So we'll see where that goes. But, I mean, even with Jared Leto, like, yeah, he's working on Morbius. I'm not sure if he's working on it right now. But it's like until, you know, Warner Brothers tells me these characters are done, like these actors are done, like, I can't get behind, you know, just kind of spewing that information out there. But on the surface level, as a fan, it really sucks. It's really a bummer. Like, it really kind of makes me like, just reboot the whole darn thing, man. Forget it all. Because obviously you're removing everything. And your boy Kevin made a statement, Kevin Sujihara, which is weird because, what's the dude's name? They came from the Annabelle and whatchamacallit series, and helping out with James Wan with those. Oh, Hamada. I thought he was the person that was the head and the lead, but I've yet to even see him. I've yet to heard him say anything. And the fact that Kevin was like, well, we're going to focus on, you know, single-based films. That's the best thing for us. That Wonder Woman was proof of that. Aquaman is proof of that. We don't need Batman. And I'm not saying he didn't say we don't need Batman or Superman. Matter of fact, he did kind of confirm that, you know, they are going to do more Superman when the story is right or whatever. But I don't know, man. I really feel like this is my honest feeling as a fan, not as a critic and not as somebody that knows basic facts. I think that as a fan, that DC Comics Entertainment needs to allow the DC Universe application to branch out into its own studio. I think that DC Universe should be DC Universe Studios. And because if they do that, like if they go and they raise a good enough awareness on the TV side, they make their money, they can actually have their own studio space where you have somebody that's at the helm that's doing all this. In my personal opinion, Kevin Smith would be a good candidate for that. And allowing somebody like that to oversee how this is all going to unfold, how this is all going to kind of progress. Because instead of like being reactional and like having stuff like articles like this shouldn't come out. This is something that Warner Brothers should announce. Like if something like this, like even with the Philip Lord and what's the name situation when it came to Solo, like they immediately talked about it, addressed it, and then moving forward. Like Ron Howard is in for good or bad. Like they stopped it. You know what I'm saying? And because it's a reactional situation, because Warner Brothers has so many different factions of different properties, like I really feel like a dedicated studio space would benefit them in the long term. I mean, if you guys don't agree, I mean, that's fine, but let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think that a DC Universe Studios would be the best benefit moving forward? Because if you have your own studio space, you'd be just like Marvel in so many ways. Because Marvel, I'm not talking about mimicking the blueprint of Marvel. I'm talking about just having like something where these directors and these creators and these writers don't get freaked out, you know, when somebody says, well, your stuff sucks. I don't support this. I don't support that. Like, it can be in a safe area because it's all covered under this branch. Like, we know we have a plan. We have a prospect. Now you got, you know what I'm saying, like Ava DuVernay doing, I forget. What was it? Not the Eternals. Is it Eternals? I can't remember. But got her doing that. Got Birds of Prey being made. You got Aquaman 2 being dated for 2022. And you still don't have a Cyborg, Green Lantern, a Flash in process. Because my thing is, I don't find a problem, you know, working with Birds of Prey or Aquaman 2 or anything else they do in between. The problem that I have is you talk about making solo-based films, but you're still taking the same exact formula and just recycling it. Because with the Birds of Prey, like, that's a group. That's not a single branded solo film. Like your solo films to date, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Aquaman have been your most successful, best well received, because there's so many, you know, hands in the pot. I think that that overclouds everything that's kind of been happening. But I think that if they did have their own studio space, they could focus on, you know, finding time for Ezra Miller to go and have that solo film, figuring out who they're gonna cast for Green Lantern, so that at least people will know, you know, that's on grain. Talking about, like, it's been 5 years, bro. since Matt Reeves got, you know, the thing from Ben Affleck. But yet we have not seen a concept art. We haven't got a casting. It's gone through 5 different, you know, redrafts. And for a Batman film? About a noir Batman film? You know, it doesn't have to be the greatest Batman film of all time. Like, I think that's part of the problem. Like, everybody felt like everything from that point that The Dark Knight came out, it had to be as good, if not better than that. And that was the tipping bar of comic book lore in general, mythology and everything. And I think that shot DC in the foot in so many different regards, because then they felt like not only they had to catch up, but they had to meet a certain kind of tonal standard and a certain kind of level. And honestly, each of these characters have their own tones. You know what I'm saying? But when they interact, you know, anything and everything can happen. That's the point where Marvel proved that when it came to Infinity War. I admit that. And that should have been, you know, to the same exact depths and levels and willingness to go hard in the paint that DC should have gone. But I think that having a studio would work in his benefit. But going back full circle, on the surface level, I am upset that Will Smith is no longer going to be Deadshot. If this to be true, I don't necessarily think it is, and I don't actually know. And the fact that the PR people didn't confirm it still kind of perplexes me. Like, why? Like, you're going off a source, but if the PR people can't confirm it and Warner Bros. Didn't confirm it, like, I don't know. But because Will Smith is such a big body, he's got his own YouTube, he's got his own Instagram and all this other kind of stuff, something's going to be put in the atmosphere tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And when they do, whatever they say, if they renege or if they confirm, we'll talk about it for sure. And I'll kind of broadcast that. But I just want to kind of unload some of my thoughts about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Sorry I wasn't able to check out the chat. I don't know who's been in the chat or what's been happening in the chat. But I gotta go. I need to finish up my True Detective reaction. I've actually already recorded it 3 days ago. I just haven't pre-edited it or anything like that. But let me know what you guys think. Please leave a like. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. And make sure you hit that little bell button that's on the bottom. And you'll get notifications as soon as we have a confirmed update of what's coming up next. But I'll talk to you guys a bit later on. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. It's a sad day. Very sad day.